Keri, you have a Keri has a treat for everyone. Keri, what do you want to do for us today?
So I want to read to you guys a post. It may be the best SJW post I've ever read. And I'm just going to give you a little context so you know what this is. A friend of mine, he wandered onto a SJW's wall, a friend of his, who she was writing about how her 6-year-old daughter asked her, "What's the patriarchy?" Because she was wearing a shirt that said patriarchy.
That idea. I mean, she just, yeah.
I wonder where she got thought to ask. Anyway, and that she explained to her that the patriarchy is a system in which men get to make all the rules and decide what we have to do, and that women have to obey. And that's what she's teaching.
That would be a patriarchy. If that is, I think that's not a bad definition.
Thank goodness we don't live in one of those, right?
Yeah, it's nice.
So she's teaching her daughter that we do. And then at the end of the post, she wrote something about like, let's burn this patriarchy down to the ground. And I told her that's why we're going to burn it down to the ground. Like, so anyway.
By the way, I cannot, part of me, the bad, evil part of me, we all have evil parts. You got to know your dark side.
Mm-hmm.
The dark, evil part of me cannot fucking wait for Islam to just take over and all these feminists have to deal with that.
The dark part of you.
Yeah. I mean, it's going to be fine for me. I'll just lie and say, like, Allah, you guys are fucked. You're so fucked, feminists.
That's it. I understand why the dark part, because that's like Schadenfreude kind of. It's like,
it's totally Schadenfreude. I don't actually want that.
Yeah, but it's like you were so naive and such a liar about living in a patriarchy. Wouldn't it be interesting if in the future you actually had to live in one?
Right. And you're supporting, I mean, they tend to support Islam generally as like don't criticize the Muslims. All right.
Yeah.
Here's your fucking patriarchy. Anyway, sorry, I didn't mean to.
No, I'm enjoying this discussion. So my friend wanders in. Look, I'm going to get to why I'm wearing this stupid hat in a second. So my friend wanders in to this discussion and he disagrees with her. Now, on her wall, no one ever disagrees with her. It's like the typical SJW echo chamber. And it's just a bunch of people like wanking each other off about how virtuous and SJW they are and how woke they are. And so she has a bunch of those like woke male followers who come in and are like, you know, doing the subservient thing, but like they have to speak the right tenets of the ideology to get pats on the head kind of thing. Do they call her what?
Mistress.
Maybe in private. So all these guys, everyone immediately attacks my friend, like attacks, you know, in the way they do. They're name calling him, calling him stupid fucking idiot, you know.
Wait, back up. What does your friend come? What does he say?
He came in and he disagreed. He was like, it makes my stomach churn a little bit to read some of the posts about what you're teaching your daughter, and like, I don't agree. Could you explain to me what is the patriarchy? I don't understand. Like he basically was just disagreeing. And then he at some point offered different stats about if we live in such a patriarchy, why don't you ever hear, like all you're talking about are things in the world that disproportionately affect women. What about things that disproportionately affect men? You know, what about the fact that men occupy the jobs that are the most life-threatening? You know, that men make up 99% or whatever, firefighters or coal miners, or
they die earlier. They have, they kill themselves more. They go to war and yeah.
Right. They're screwed in family court. They're, you know, whatever. There's a ton of, so he basically was challenging this idea of the patriarchy, and he did so in a civil way. He's not going in there name calling and telling people they're dumb and all this. But of course that's what they do, because that's their only tactics. They did all the classic SJW stuff. They called him names. They engaged in ad hominem attacks. They were full of vitriol and contempt. And I've seen a lot of contempt. I've been on the receiving end of SJW vitriol before, but this was one of the worst I've seen. This would probably be number 2. I've seen one worse that I was. So because the very interesting part of it was how, I mean, I think there ended up being 200 comments and the whole mob is against him. And the whole time they're treating him this way, he never engages in name calling. He never dishes it back to them. He continues to try and model his beliefs with his behavior and engage in a civil way. He continues to try to salvage something and have conversation with them. But they are so hypocritical and a complete lack of insight, because while they're behaving in such a hateful, vitriolic way, they're doing what SJWs do, which is calling him hateful.
Right.
They're calling him hateful, and they're calling him, and it's like, so I saw this, he was kind enough to let me read this, and I was just like, I came across this one. So one of the worst offenders was this guy, let's call him Bob. Now let's give him a douchier name. Yeah. We'll call him a douchey name. Let's call him Corey.
Corey's a great name. Or Beto.
Beto. Let's call him Beto.
Any similarities to persons living or dead? Completely coincidental.
Beto. So Beto comes in, and he's been the worst offender from the beginning. Like he's just been doing the classic white knighting male SJW thing, where he comes in, it's like, you need to sit down and shut up, and you blah blah, and listen to women and women's lived experience, dude, and women this, and you don't even know what you're talking about because she's a woman and you can't disagree, right? So then he posts this thing I'm reading, and I don't know if he was drinking or what, but towards the end of the 200 comments, he did a thread that just devolved into something that sounds like a coffee house poetry hour to me. Like, that's why I was like, let me get the closest thing I have to a beanie, and I'm gonna read this to you. Maybe we can add music or something to it later.
So now you're gonna do a dramatic reading of woke Beto SJW dude on Facebook.
Correct.
Okay.
This is all in one comment. Okay.
Okay.
This is him responding to my male friend who asked, what do you mean by burning down you're going to burn down the patriarchy? What does that mean?
Woman! Whoa, man! Whoa, man!
So first he quotes my friend. What exactly is this burning down of the patriarchy? Point 1, shut the fuck up and listen to women about the pressure points applied to them in society. Understand that you are not a woman. You don't get treated like a woman. You don't understand women. Like I do. That's the implied thing, right? Like I do.
This guy really needs to get laid.
Yeah. You don't understand women. The patriarchy is a systemic problem so pervasive indeed that it's hard to see from your perspective because you're a man, you're a little man boat floating on top of an ocean of female experience. Sure.
Hey, you want to go fishing today, this weekend in my man boat?
Well,
there's a lake of female experience just down the road.
Only if we can. I was going to say only if we can go to an ocean of female experience. Sure. Your boat will get floated around by things, and it's not all peaches and hand jobs in your little man boat. Winds blow and sun scorches your skin. And maybe you don't have a goddamn paddle.
What the fuck is he talking about?
I don't know. Sometimes your stupid man boat might actually even get tossed around by turbulent waves of female experience. And you will rail and yell at the ocean. You will slap her with your hand. You will punch her and throw your shit into her in fits of anger. You will look pathetic. I'm like, have you done this, sir? You will slap her with your hand?
You know what? I can picture this guy, though. San Francisco is full of these douchebag feminist guys who glom on to women and speak like this, that are just like, women are, you don't understand. It's an ocean of feeling and light and wonderfulness and spirituality. And most of them really need to get laid. I mean, that's right. Just... Okay, sorry.
No, you're right. And sometimes you slap women with your hand and you punch her and throw your shit into her.
Ew, what?
What? Okay.
That's easy, man.
Yeah, you will look pathetic. You will never be that ocean, but that doesn't mean you can't understand her. It doesn't mean you can't get better at navigating her. It doesn't mean you can't swim in her. Dive into her, explore her, and learn what's going on underneath the surface.
That is so creepy.
It's so gross, right?
Oh my God.
Ew. Beto.
They make me horny, Saturday morning. Girls of cartoons won't leave me in ruins. I want to be Betty's bunny.
Ew. Ooh, okay, you know how they say that male SJWs, they're employing a reproduction strategy. Their strategy is to be
Women?
is to be women. Is to be like a beta, because then if their strategy is, if I do this and I suck up to women in this way and I roll down like I lay down like a carpet, perhaps they will have sex with me. I've never seen a post that better illustrates this than this post. He's like trying to get into erotic poetry while explaining what the patriarchy is. It's not done, by the way. It's not done. Here's the last part.
Let's finish it. Brilliant.
Okay.
Hey, Jane, get me off this crazy thing called love.
If you get out of your shitty man boat for a little while and take a swim, you'll find that ocean can buoy you. She can feed you. She can sustain you. She can protect you. If you just change how you look at the ocean and stop ignoring everything that she is and the powerful forces that pull at her, like the tidal pull of capitalism and misogyny that make her shift backwards and forwards with beauty standards, pay disparity, false gender norms, gender segregation, racism, abortion policy, healthcare policy, unrealistic work-life expectations, and the social pressures placed on motherhood and partnering, then maybe you'll make a better boat that's better suited for this ocean. One that works with the tides and currents and the life she contains, the reality that she is and the power she can bring. Maybe then you'll stop being an ignorant fucking asshole. Do you understand now why I had to read this out loud?
I'm embarrassed for the guy.
I'm not. He was super jerk. He was like the biggest jerk. And this is just, oh, this is a beautiful, beautiful thing.
I
think he was probably drinking. Do you think he wrote
No,
this?
he wasn't drinking. He
Okay.
wasn't drinking. Guys like that aren't drinking. They're high or they're like on shrooms. There's something, but they're not drinking.
Yeah, maybe he was on shrooms. Or maybe he wrote this and he reads it at Poetry Hour. By the way, sir, you're wrong at the beginning when you said, understand you're not a woman. I thought this was the thing you can choose to identify as, sir. So perhaps.
Yeah, that's the thing that's weird. He goes into this whole woman thing, but then in his list of virtue signals, he talks about gender identity and norms. And it's like, well, like you can't talk about women as a separate class of individuals if gender is fluid and has no meaning and is a social construct. I mean, those aren't. But I don't think logic is this guy's strong point, so that's okay.
I don't think poetry is either.
I think actually his reproduction strategy is that he doesn't have any strong points. It's like I'll just go back to the tent, and if you're up for sloppy seconds while you're half awake, I'll be here.
Well, right after he posted this, though, a female SJW in the thread, she posted a little meme of some guy from The Office, and he was crying and applauding, and it said, "Thank you." So clearly it's working with female SJWs. I mean, she might as well have said, like, Beto, there's an ocean in my panties. You know?
Yeah, but that's the thing. I don't know that it is working. So the women like that want those guys in their orbit, and it may give them pity sex once in a while, but they're still out fucking the alphas. I mean, they're not. This isn't. She's like, yeah, we can be best friends. He's my best friend. Like, okay, he'll be my best friend forever.
The woman who started this whole thread, the really horrible one, she asked him, she's like, "Can you come fight all my battles for me?" And he goes, in classic SML fashion, he's like, "You're doing very well yourself on your own, strong woman." Like he said something like that.
You didn't even say yeah.
Like not too shabby, but you know, he'll be there. But
I'll be there to support, but you don't need me because you're so strong and awesome. Oh.
This guy. Here's the other funny thing. There were two different types of men in two different types of male SJWs in the thread. There was this guy who was just way arrogant and over the top and vocal and hateful and horrible. Like this was a very funny one. The rest of his posts were all just complete ad hominem attacks and, you know, trying to insult my friend's intelligence. The other guy was kind of funny. The other guy was a little bit more civil, but he seemed to be messaging him like, you know, he sort of was giving him a roadmap. He sort of was like, you know, we were like you once and ignorant and not understanding and about female experience. And, you know, you need to, and he was sort of giving him the lay of the land. It was almost like he was like, here's how you survive in this new world. Pick up a pitchfork, join the mob, and then you won't be the target of it. Like he's like telling him how to survive. Like you said, like castrated.
Yeah.
Become one of us.
You'll get the ugly feminist pussy.
Yeah.
We all want the ugly feminist pussy, right? Because it's all we deserve.
Maybe then we'll all get laid together.
Meanwhile, like the arrogant misogynists are out banging the tens.
The arrogant misogynist. Yeah, I'm sure they think that's what my friend is. Oh my gosh. Yeah, these guys are not men. Sorry. You're not a man, sir. And I would never want you diving into and exploring my ocean of female experience.
The thing is, feminists wouldn't survive without the patriarchy. I mean, and I don't mean I'm saying the patriarchy ironically, but like everything that they argue for, it's always expansion of government. It's always more policies to protect women. Who enforces those? Men with guns. Men with guns. Men with guns enforce all of your shit. It's guys in tack gear that are kicking down the doors, arresting the, you know, people that you want to go to jail for wrongthink. It's the police state is male. The police state is a male thing, which is why sometimes it's power hungry and fucking crazy and like wants to go bomb Iran for no reason. But the police state is male. It's a male thing. So if what you need is a police state, you're not a liberated woman. If all of your arguments are like, the government should do more, blah, 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 you're pathetic. You're asking to be supported by men with guns. That's what you're asking for. That's not power.
But you're just talking from your man boat, so.
Yeah, this is my man boat. But my man boat is a fucking yacht.
And also, none of this world, okay, they view it as a patriarchy. I think it's more accurately, it should be viewed as, well, like Peterson talks about, like hierarchies, okay? And everyone is oppressed in some way, okay? It doesn't matter, like just to focus on women and try to reduce it to such a childish thing like this is childish. And by the way, my friend pointed out to her that, you know, this is what she's teaching her 6-year-old. And then she kind of responded by saying, well, because he said, you know, you're saying that we live in a world where men get to decide everything and women have to obey. And she's like, yeah, but that's just what I told my 6-year-old because she's 6. And how else could I explain it? Because it's complicated. So you lied to your 6-year-old? Like, you're basically like, well, that's just what I told my little kid. Because that's just what, I'm like, that's insane. But anyway, he was pointing out in this world in which you supposedly hate the way it's structured and everything, all the roads that you travel on, okay, like our system of electrification, you would not be on the internet right now if it weren't for this so-called patriarchy. Like they don't ever seem to, like, if we lived in a matriarchy, do you think that the world would look exactly the way it does now? I don't think so.
If we lived in a matriarchy, we would live in a matriarchy for about 5 minutes until Islam took over. The matriarchy would not last. You need testosterone, you need anger, you need strength, you need to fight. The world is a horrible, horrible place with lots of things that want to kill you and lots of bad ideologies. And the world's also a great place, but you need both. You need men and women, both.
They want to live in a world where they turn men into women.
Yeah, that world does not survive. And what that world is a feeding ground for the most vicious among us. right? If you get rid of the sheepdogs, all you're left with are sheep and wolf. That's what happens.
It's like Camille Paglia talks about this a lot, about the forces, the strong forces that start to amass on the outside of a culture that is dying.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
the wolves at the gate. Yeah.
Yeah. They can see, because the sheepdogs that were protecting, that were fighting, are now like, the woman's an ocean of like, all right, go be your ocean. Enjoy surfing your ocean, dude.
Yeah.
But you know,
yeah, this guy, final thought for me on this guy, you're disgusting. Like, you're disgusting.
Yeah.
And condescending. And you think you understand women now? You do? This poem? You understand women? You deserve to dive and explore in women? That's cool. You're so gross. So gross.
Wow.
And if I ever met you in the street, by the way, I'm more of a man than you. I'll put it that way. I might this female ocean might give you a little sucker punch.
A note to the humor impaired. We do not condone the initiation of force. Keri was joking when she said she would sucker punch you. Enjoy your ocean.